Welcome. In this section, we'll discuss the biological foundations of personality. Einstein theorized that personality is biologically based. In support of this theory, he offered three arguments: the universality of core personality traits, the stability of personality across the lifespan, and the similarities in personality amongst genetic relatives. We'll examine the evidence for each of these arguments. First off, in the last chapter, we discussed the cross-cultural research examining the Big Five factors. There's much evidence to suggest that the Big Five factors are not limited to the English Western cultures on which they were developed. However, the extent to which they generalize beyond wealthy, developed nations is unclear. The inability to replicate a five-factor structure in personality tests among populations may point to a lack of universality of personality structure, or just difficulty in translating measurement methods to people unfamiliar with psychological testing. More broadly speaking, there is research to suggest that many of the Big Five factors extend to other species. Agreeableness, extroversion, neuroticism, and openness have been observed in many species, including cats, pigs, and even octopi. This research involves systematic observation of animal behavior by trained raters. Conscientiousness has only been observed in humans and chimpanzees. Given that conscientiousness involves organization, effortful control, and planning, a well-developed frontal lobe may be essential. When we examine the stability of personality, longitudinal data is key. Longitudinal studies track participants over time. So the same participants would take the personality inventory at multiple time points across their life. We can then assess the stability or changes in personality across these time points. Data suggests that core personality is relatively stable across adulthood. On average, levels of agreeableness, neuroticism, and extroversion change very little from age 20 to 80. We see increases in conscientiousness early in adulthood, likely due to changes in lifestyle related to career development and raising children. Openness, on the other hand, declines with age. Let me know what theories you have as to why. Of course, adulthood isn't the only developmental stage, and so we need to look at the stability of personality across childhood and into adulthood. The challenge is that we cannot administer standard self-report personality inventories to small children, particularly toddlers and infants. Instead, we can observe and measure the behavior of children. Developmental researchers have discovered core differences in stable behavior patterns of infants and young children. They call these early emerging differences in behavior patterns temperament. Researchers believe that temperament lays the foundation for later personality development. Because temperament emerges so early in development, it's believed to be rooted in our biology and genetic inheritance, rather than the result of experience. Although researchers disagree on how to best classify behavior differences, it's clear that different children exhibit different temperaments. Some are very high in activity level and very sociable, whereas others are not. My nephew, pictured here, is only 18 months, and he's already like a hurricane of energy. Kagan argued that children could be classified as inhibited versus uninhibited. Inhibited children would show signs of anxiety and fear of novelty. They would be gentle and restrained. And so that's our top picture here. The uninhibited children, like my nephew, would be more rough and rambunctious. So he'll chase after the dogs and then just slap them in the face. So he's not very gentle and restrained. And what we would expect is that my nephew in a few years will still be high energy and social, and the inhibited child will still be reserved and shy. The argument is that our biology and our genes set the stage for personality development. The personality that we develop is dependent on and constrained by our biology. My brother and sister-in-law may be able to modify my nephew's behavior and help channel his energy, but they may never be able to turn him into a shy, inhibited person. There are a variety of reasons why personality and temperament are stable other than biological influence. Temperament, once expressed, may be reinforcing over time. Social influence is bidirectional. Parents influence children, but children also influence parents. Sociable, happy babies elicit a different type of response than fearful or emotional babies. As we get older, our behavior will continue to evoke responses from others. Also, as we get older, we have increasing ability to select environments that match and reinforce our tendencies. Sociable, outgoing teenagers try out for the lead in the school play. Quiet, shy teenagers work backstage. Your book discusses a study in which researchers measure the personality of students in a library. Students sitting in high traffic common areas were more extroverted than those sitting in isolated corners. Think about how this choice reinforces personality. Those extroverts are exposed to more people. They're going to meet new friends in that common area, reinforcing their social extroverted nature. And so twin studies can provide valuable evidence for the specifically biological account for personality. Naturally occurring variations in twins allows us to tease apart influences of genes versus environment. We can compare degree of shared personality between monozygotic and dizygotic twins. Both types of twins grow up in a shared household. Just like many siblings, they live in the same house with the same family, and so the amount of environmental influence is equivalent. What differentiates monozygotic and dizygotic twins is the amount of shared DNA. Monozygotic twins have identical genes, but dizygotic twins don't. If monozygotic twins are more similar in personality than dizygotic twins, it's a strong argument for the influence of genes on personality. Research suggests that monozygotic twins have more similar personalities than dizygotic twins, as evidenced here in the table by the higher values in the monozygotic twin column. However, we still can't rule out environment because it's likely that people treat identical twins and fraternal twins differently. You often see that people dress and treat identical twins alike, and thus they may have more shared environmental influences than dizygotic twins. In rare cases, we have twins that have been adopted into separate homes. Here we can compare monozygotic twins raised together versus apart. In this data, we see that genetics and environment combine and interact in complex ways to shape personality. So when we ask, who are we, right? And how do we become the people that we are? What are the major influences on our personality? How did Kanye become Kanye or Clooney become Clooney? Just like you, they are most likely a product of both biology and environment. Biology sets the stage, but nothing is written in stone.